This was my first time visiting a historical slave site, and to see it in Africa was life-changing. When we were planning our trip to Sierra Leone, we sat down one day and just looked at the map. Of course, my husband is from there. He is familiar with the geography. He's familiar with the place in general, and of course the places that he's from and he grew up. But there were a lot of places he realized in the country that he had never actually explored before. So we started looking at the map, and Sierra Leone is really cool because it's on the west coast of Africa. So therefore, there's plenty of beaches and tropical places that you can visit and explore. And we started looking at those, and then I realized off the coast there I saw a couple islands. One of them was called Banana Island. Right away, when the kids and I saw this little island place just sitting there off the coast, we were like, we need to go there. Banana Island. We're like, Banana Island? What's that? What could be there? It sounded so tropical. It sounded so interesting. And I liked the fact it was an island that you would have to take a boat to go there. You couldn't just drive there. So we were in. We were like, let's go and see this place. So as we started, so we put that on our bucket list, that we said in the time that we're there for these few months, we have to definitely go to Banana Island, among other things. Little did we know, as I started to do some research looking into Banana Island and what it was, we started to realize it's actually a historic slave port. So I started to realize you could take a tour there and see everything, and I'm like, wow, this is really we definitely need to go there. This is really interesting. This will be really impactful for all of us. And you know what? I never actually have gone to any historic places, especially related to slavery. I can't think of many Black history places that I've been to personally. When I think about any museums, historic sites that I've seen, it's been American history, but not specifically Black history, and certainly not slave history. So you are blessed if you've been to somewhere like that, and I see now how impactful it is. And I just want to encourage you, if you've not been, to really try to go. I never thought about how it would impact me, how it would make me feel as an African American to go see something that is a shared history between African Americans and Africans, a place in Africa wherein we have crossed paths. That's how I viewed this place, and I never thought about how it would impact me, and it certainly did. So how did we plan this trip? This is good to know if you logistically thinking about going, and also it's kind of interesting to talk about because it's quite a journey. So we stayed in Freetown, on the west end of Freetown. We did our research before we went to Banana Island. Around, we looked at the map, we made calls, and we came to realize that the easiest way to get there was if you went all the way down to the furthest beach, the furthest, most southern beach in Freetown, and took the boat from there. You would be closest to Banana Island and have the shortest boat ride. So we decided we were going to now go and journey to that beach, and we took the long route. If you're familiar with Freetown, there's two ways that you could get around down to what is called Kent Beach. We chose to take Peninsula Road all the way, although it's not finished, just to let you know. So if you're like, oh, she said we should take Peninsula Road, let's go, and then you're like, wait, this is not a road, don't blame me. It's not a road. It's off-road driving if you go that way. It's certainly off-road driving, which to us is kind of fun and we don't mind, but if you don't have the proper vehicle and if you were not in the mood for that, it could be frustrating. But we had actually taken that road a few times, and it should be done soon. It's getting better and better every time that we go there. One thing, you know, if you've not been to Africa, it's not uncommon to just randomly find roads that aren't done. I know in America that is extremely uncommon. You might find some potholes in the road, but you're not just going to be driving down the road and going to your friend's house and you turn on their block and it's just like not a road. It's just not, it's off-road driving, or you have to park your car and walk. That doesn't happen in America, but in Africa that was pretty common. So even on this main, which really should be a main highway, it's kind of not done in some places. But you can manage if you have determination, if you have the right vehicle, you can do it. I also want to exhort Sierra Leoneans, Africans, please don't complain about the road. There's worse things that can happen. Don't go back and you're expecting the roads to be like America. People have higher priorities on their list than to fix the road, to fix the pothole, to pave their road. Most people would rather eat before their road is paved on their street. Most people would rather have a place to stay than the road is paved on their street. So I understand it's not convenient for us, but you're not living there. Your family and friends are dealing with it every day. Leave them alone. Don't talk about their road. If you want to fix it, pay the money and fix it. Amen. So we arranged ahead of time. We went to Kent Beach, talked to the boatman, arranged a young man who was going to take us over. So it was a regular fisherman's boat that we took, and we all fit comfortably in the boat, which was a nice adventure in itself. All of us had our life vests, and it's only about a 20-minute boat ride, but it was really fun, and it was a gorgeous day that day. So take the boat over, you arrive at Banana Island, and it is everything that you want it to be. It's a tropical island, largely untouched. There's no roads, there's no cars. It's just a gorgeous tropical island. Fun fact, it's not called Banana Island because there's bananas all over the place. I found out it's called Banana Island because of the shape of it. If you look at an aerial view from the map, it's kind of shaped long like a banana. So keep that in mind if you expect to go there and see bananas everywhere. I mean, we saw plenty of vegetation, but it's not called Banana Island for bananas. For just fun, besides the importance of the history, for just fun, Banana Island is great in itself. It's just, again, it's beautiful. The weather is beautiful. It's so peaceful. It's so quiet. You'll see people, and they were friendly, and there was a couple resorts there that you could eat if you wanted, and they had just a gorgeous setup right overlooking the water. You can even camp there. There was a few places. The resorts were not like real hotel structures, which I really loved because they didn't ruin the aesthetic of the place by just putting some huge concrete buildings. The resorts were actually more open layout and had tents and huts, like camping style accommodations. So we were tempted to stay. We said next time we're gonna plan to stay for a couple nights and just be there. So wonderful, just wonderful, relaxing hammocks overlooking the water, everything that you could want. Then also the historic elements are really important and really unique. So he took us on a tour. He showed us the oldest church in Sierra Leone, which is definitely impactful to see that the first church in Sierra Leone started where they were trading slaves. And they explained that even the slaves used to go to the church. So I don't know, it just kind of brings those mixed feelings and speaks to the complexity of the time, and just makes you wonder, what was the church doing or not doing, saying or not saying? What was the church's role to be on an island with a slave port? It's interesting to think about and to see it for yourself. We went further down the path, and kind of the highlight of the tour, which is kind of some banks overlooking the water, and there's cannons set up there. And they explain to you these cannons were used by the British to guard the slave port itself. And you can see the cannons. In fact, when we were there, they were just a few feet behind us excavating another cannon that they said the rain had uncovered. So we got to even see the royal seal, the British royal seal on those cannons, that it was authentic, and they were just digging it up. So very interesting. Raw history is there. Um, they brought us around the corner to, there's a pit, which is kind of filled in now, but the explanation is that it was a lot deeper at the time, and it was a pit, a holding place for slaves. They believe maybe if a slave was being punished or was difficult to restrain, they would use that pit. And then I think that is where it really hit me, the impact and my imagination thinking what actually happened here. And that's where I just really, the thought came to me. I said, wow, this place may be actually the only difference between me being African American or African. I really saw my family, my husband African, me African American, our children half and half, and I really was like, this right here is the difference. This is the dividing line of our cultures. It could be this very spot, because some were taken from here and some were left here. This is the only difference. This very place could have been. And I've not done ancestry, I've not done DNA, but if you know anything about it, so many people who are doing it realize that West Africa is actually that changing point for them. So many people who are doing it realize that, in fact, Sierra Leone is where their ancestors came from. So many famous people. Isaiah Washington found out he was Sierra Leonean. Black Panther himself, Chadwick Boseman, found out he's Sierra Leonean. Henry Louis Gates Jr., who was the pioneer behind so many black celebrities doing their DNA, tracing their ancestry to where they are from in Africa. I remember that episode, and he was so impacted when he found out he's Sierra Leonean. In fact, he found out he's the same tribe as my husband. So I just think about it, the chances are high. So many of us, this was the place. This was actually the dividing line. And for it to be a little tropical island that makes the difference between us, then I think all of the things that we're using as dividers, all of the things that we use that become animosity, that become judgment, is ridiculous. It doesn't make sense. Just because you left the island and you stayed and went back to the mainland, then we're acting like we don't know each other. We're acting like we don't need to help each other. So I just thought about that, and I said, this is it. This is the place. This is where the division happened. And maybe for me, that's where the unity can happen again. So I would really encourage you to look into Banana Island. Think about the impact. Think about what happened there. Think about the facts that this really is the only thing that divides us, and it should actually be the very thing that unites us and shows us who we are and where we came from, and maybe it can give us a little insight in where we can go. Thanks again for listening. I love talking about our two cultures, and this was a special thing that personified my understanding of our cultures and the way that they should cross paths with each other. This was a physical place wherein they cross paths with each other. If you're Sierra Leonean and you've not been to Banana Island, you need to go. It's right in your backyard. You need to take the time and go and experience it. If you're African American, you need to go and experience this also. God bless you. You all take care.